Ricorda. Hi, hello everyone. People are joining. Okay. Good. We see already many people are joining, so maybe everyone, hello. You can also just type in the chat hello, maybe say where you're connecting from. So I know we have people coming up from all over the world, so feel free to say hello and type in where you're connecting from. Hello everyone. So we're gonna wait for a few more minutes, 1 or 2, to get other people as well. But hey, everyone who is joining. Okay. So let's wait 30 more seconds. And in the meantime, everyone, if you want, you can say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're coming from. So I know we have a diverse group of people from all over the world. So feel free to say hello in the chat and also tell us where you're connecting from. Okay, let's give it 30 more seconds and then we can start. Cool. So everyone, we're gonna start slowly. Hi everyone, so my name is Vit. I'm the VP of Sales here at SciNote, and today I have with me Matias. So Matias, you wanna say hello?
Hi there, VP of Product Management here.
And also co-founder of SciNote as well.
Yes.
So that's a very important thing as well. So I'm glad that everyone joined us today. So we're gonna be talking, as you can see, the title of today's webinar is Streamlining R&D with Integrated Project Management in ELNs. And if Matias, you can just, I can click, sorry, I went too fast. So what we're gonna cover today, so I'll do a quick agenda overview. So first we're gonna go, I'll briefly explain what, and Matias will talk about project management, what project management is, what the history of it is, and then how that correlates and how project management is used in science, in R&D, what are the common challenges, what are some of the market expectations for project management, and then I'm gonna continue with what SciNote can help you do and what some of our customers did with project management in R&D. So we're gonna have a few polls, guys, in the meantime. So at the time, please just it's gonna be more fun polls, nothing major, but feel free to reply, and let's kick it off. So I'm gonna do a quick overview of what SciNote is for everyone who is joining here and doesn't know us. So SciNote is a digital platform, cloud-based platform that's designed to help research teams manage their scientific data, lab workflows with ease, of course, and efficiency. So what we offer is a nice platform where you can combine your SOPs, forms, project planning, regulatory compliance, inventory, stock management, team management, and collaboration. So what we aim to do is a user-friendly interface with powerful project management tools and a seamless integration with other lab systems. And on the next slide, I'll just quickly say a few numbers about SciNote. So the first thing which we are very proud of is that we are #1 ELN based on G2 reviews and have been for 3 years in a row. We have over 100K people and users using us in 100+ countries, very different sectors from biopharma to food and bev, industrial biotech, material science. There's a lot of different sectors we work in, and we're proud to support both FDA and USDA as well. One thing which you can always read about, we are very open about this. So we are a security first company. You can see some of this, and we are trusted by some customers that you can see in the bottom right side, like Agilent, Aerogen, Sotio, and the rest. So I'm going to give the microphone to Matjaž now. He's going to take us, as I said in the beginning, through what project management is and how it should be used in science and R&D teams.
Right. Thank you, Vit. And I just love how our agenda looks like a Gantt chart. That's so appropriate for today's webinar. If anyone has any questions for Q&A session, feel free to type them up either in the webinar chat or in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to either reply them in the Q&A session or send the answers after the webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Matjaž. I completely forgot about that one.
Not a problem. So really a kind of a fun look over the project management history and evolution. I won't bore you too much with these details, but the project management goes really way back. So since the biggest projects of our civilization as a humanity kind of appeared with the building of pyramids or Great Wall in China, the foundations for the project management started because of those huge endeavors who needed to organize a lot of people and other resources. Through Industrial Revolution, these industrial projects came into place. Those also demanded quite a lot of organized execution, and that was also foundation for a bit more modern project management. And then in the earliest 20th century, I think everyone knows that or is familiar with Gantt charts or flow charts. That's why when Mr. Gantt invented the Gantt chart, so scientific management, kind of related to scientific management and engineering. And in the middle of last century, actually 50s, 60s, 70s, the big organizations such as NASA and other engineering heavy or engineering focused organizations who had enormous projects with budgets, tight deadlines, were kind of bringing the project management into life by really bringing in almost scientific approach to the metrics for tracking and achieving the project goals. This is a little bit later on, we kind of added the project management related to achieving this or to the concepts of delivering the quality and like Six Sigma or different other quality management approaches. And a bit recently with computerized systems, we had a lot of project management tools emerging, adding a little bit more agile approach to it. And recently, like a flood of project management digital tools. And as any, or as every aspect of digital life, AI is also kind of creeping in this sense with trying to help and manage complex workflows and complex projects. We have a diverse audience here, so some might be coming from a bit bigger companies, some from smaller ones. Well, the management happens depending on the company size at different levels. So portfolio management is actually managing a collection of programs. Program management is actually managing of a related group of projects, for example, to bring a drug from discovery to a specific milestone like first human trials. And then the project management is managing of an individual project. So we'll be spending today a little bit more in the later, so project management, maybe a little bit more on the program management as well. So I think we already have a first warm-up poll.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so guys, as Matjaž just said, we're gonna do the first poll now. So you can already see it on the screen, and I'm gonna start it in a few seconds. So we're very interested to just understand what are you using today, right? What tools do you currently use for project management? So we already provided some answers you'll see, but we want to hear your opinion, want to know and understand the landscape better as well. And you should see it now. Just a second. Yeah, so we're gonna give you a few seconds for the questions to come in. I mean, the answers. But it's really interesting. So these are some of the examples we often hear about. But we're interested. If there's anything else, if you think something is missing on the list, put it in a chat, put in the Q&A session, and we can talk about it and see. Yeah, so currently it's mostly Microsoft projects, Asana as well. Those two are leading the way, and then others. Okay, spreadsheets. Spreadsheets actually is the one that's the most. Okay. I'm gonna end the poll, so you're gonna be able to see the results as well. And I'm gonna actually share them so you guys see them. So as you can see, currently most of it is spreadsheets, so Excel, Google Sheets, Airtable. Then we have Microsoft projects, and then we have various different software which are very similar. So Trello, Monday.com, ClickUp, Notion. Notion is a very common one in science as well, so that's one I hear a lot about. I think it's a strong one. And then we also have some which are none of the above or that currently don't use them. Good. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this. This was very okay. So we also see some chat. Sorry, I missed you guys. So we also have okay, open project. Wasn't aware of that one. Microsoft Teams and Easy Projects. Yeah, I wasn't aware of open project. I never heard about that one, but we're gonna
I think we use it a little bit. Yes.
Okay, cool. Good. Thanks, everyone. And let's give just a second to give the mic back to Matjaž.
Yes. So essentially, science in general, whether it's industrial or academics setting, academic research, it's project driven. There's a variety of tools being used, as we saw in the poll, ranging from your favorite spreadsheet management software to the proper project management tools like Microsoft Project, Asana, Monday.com, a little bit more flexible ones like Trello, and for engineering and IT aspects, Jira is quite popular as well. The common point of those and other platforms is to actually connect the initiation, the planning of the project, and then scheduling, monitoring, tracking of the budgets, timelines, milestones, and then of course closing the projects. That includes also completing milestones, reporting. Another point where these tools should be working or are good at, they ensure everyone who's participating at the project or the individuals and stakeholders to have a high-level overview of how the project is actually going, of the project progress. However, there's a kind of a gap in the middle, this the execution of the project itself. So if we are talking about science in biotech, biopharma, medtech, life sciences in general, there are a ton of other platforms where this execution is actually documented or actually happens. So it can still be a paper, but we are using also electronic lab notebooks, LIMS systems, scientific data management systems, and because the compliance, quality assurance is very important in biopharma, medtech, quality management systems are here as well. And a ton of other platforms, including ERP systems, and so on. But yeah, there's this clear gap where project management tools have some, let's say, weakness or are not covering it, were not designed to cover it. The nature of the projects, R&D projects in pharma, medical devices, life sciences industry, and even others like environment and energy, is that they're quite complex. So they're submitting to a strict regulations, which leave very little room for errors. Typically, these R&D projects have quite complex multi-stage processes that include, let's say, research, clinical trials, validation, regulatory steps, manufacturing, market evaluation, so post-market launch evaluations, and so on. And a lot of different teams that have very different specialities collaborate on those projects. So they can specialize in biology or biotech parts or chemistry parts of the projects, engineering, quality control, and so on and so on. So that adds to the complexity. And some of those teams can also be, external, right? So they can be outsourced. Certain parts of research can be outsourced, or development, manufacturing can be outsourced, and so on. So the nature of the projects in R&D is quite complex. This brings quite a few challenges. And the project management tooling, so the traditional ones, has different levels of addressing those challenges. So we've heard that these projects can be very diverse, and the cross-team collaboration is a big challenge. So here, the project management tooling can do a very good job because they are promoting the collaboration between internal teams and external teams. So a part of complexity and collaboration of different teams is also that the data siloing can happen. So different teams have different, places where they store data, and oftentimes we also see that there's some data redundancy. So same data is actually appearing in multiple places. And this is a part that's really related to the execution of the projects, so to the science. And here, the project management tools were not really designed to kind of address this issue very well. They can help with, smoothing the communication and so on. Similarly is with resource management. Although project management tools are really great to manage, let's say, human resources, plan and track the human resources, there are other resources in biotech, pharma, and other industries that play a big role, like consumables, expensive equipment, reagents. They can add or represent significant costs. Here is another gap that kind of happens. And lastly, I can point out the lack of visibility of people, stakeholders involved in projects. So here is where project management really, tools really kind of add value, because they, one of their most added values is to bring a high level visibility and also real-time insights to projects. We also have some audience from the academic side, so academic research. I also spent some time in academia, a couple of years after finishing my PhD, so I can speak also from some experience here. There is a bit of maybe misalignment related to the perception of the importance and the role of project management in academic research, and then reality. So essentially, at least to my impression was that in academic research, there is no room for project management because of academic independence, academic freedom. However, the reality, I think, is very different. So there's a lot of science in academic research is funded via grants, and all of that, or majority of that, is project-based with budget, timelines, even scopes, reporting requirements. There's more and more pressure to have even data management done properly. The perception of the project management might be a little bit hidden in academia because, for example, a researcher, grad, postgrad researcher, PhD, postdoc student, they are all kind of focusing on their project, on the PhD, on the diploma, or finishing this publication, and they don't have the oversight of the entire project. And that's kind of by design in academia. And the fact that these projects are often dragged for years, this kind of helps with this invisibility of project management. This all brings some challenges to the academic, to the project management in academia. So there's a bit higher turnover of people in academia than in industry, I believe. So that kind of helps with limited oversight. A lot of projects in academia that are grant financed are stimulating the collaboration between different even regions, geographies, and different other universities, institutes. So there's quite a big diversity in members of who is actually contributing to the project.
And also, sorry for jumping in, like academia also collaborates with industry a lot. So it's not, they're not only, they need to know and are doing project work when working with industry clients when they're doing some work for them, right? It's not.
Yes, especially in the research part, in the early parts, that's really true. Very true. What is also interesting is that the project management in academic research, it's often, let's say, very removed from the actual research work. It happens in project management offices or is even outsourced to some project management companies, right? So it's happening somewhere else. But when the reporting periods come, those two worlds need to meet, and every reporting period is then a tiny nightmare for a principal investigator or a lead scientist, where they have to kind of bring those two worlds together, and that's a big challenge and is not a very efficient work. I think, that was it from my point of view. For the introduction, I think that my point was to really showcase that the project management, wherever science happens, is very important.
It's not only software companies that need.
Not only software companies.
So before I go to the next question, so what Nadia just said, and afterwards I'm gonna dive into more of a use case from one of our customers. So the next poll question you already have on your screens. So what we want to understand now better is, so we saw that most of you are using actually spreadsheets. I would suppose this is because of Gantt chart, because it's easy to set up. I don't know, this is again my 2 cents, but what we want to understand now and see is what are your biggest challenges in managing research projects, right? So you have projects, and what are some of the challenges? So Matthias talked about some of them.
I theorized them.
Did we miss any, or which ones did we miss? So let's see, the poll should be on your screens in a few seconds. Poll number 2, and you already should see it. So yeah, please vote and let's see what are some of the things. So as you've seen, lack of visibility, right? Data silencing, poor integration between tools. Manual duplicated effort. So that's a very common one. So when actually different teams are doing the same things, and I'll talk about this later on, but yeah, that's one I hear a lot about. Okay, resource planning is also getting a lot of votes. None of the above. Okay, for those none of the above, please use the chat again. Okay, I see they've already. Okay, tracking expenses associated with each step. Okay. And Dave, do you just mean do you mean the entire expenses from HR, from people management to consumables to inventory, or like the entire expenses, right? Or something specific?
Yeah, I'd assume everything, yes.
For me, tracking time and materials.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let's see what else. So we still have some coming in. Okay, we see like okay, that makes sense, Dave. Dean, I understand this one, pre-qual learning curve for different software, especially because you have a multiple probably. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll now. I think we got around 30. We're still getting some. Okay, I'll keep it open for a few more seconds. But it looks like the winners are a few actually, with the same number of votes, and that's lack of visibility across teams and projects, resource planning, and manual or duplicated effort. Let me now end the poll, and I'll share the results so all of you can also see it. And this does make sense. So, but I still miss, if anyone else, if we miss any important ones, like Dave said, one mentioned, so just bring it up in the chat. Okay, cool. I'll stop sharing the poll and I'll jump into the second part of today's webinar. So yeah, does any of this sound familiar? So probably it does, based on the poll results. So these are very common things we hear, right? So I also did for 2 years and a half here at SciNote. I was an implementation specialist. So I did the onboardings first, and then I moved into the sales role. And it's very interesting to see how these questions are actually very similar in the sales process and then also afterwards. So do you often need to ask other departments, where is the data stored? Because they're storing it somewhere else, or maybe they even have a different nomenclature because they name it something else, right? Or a very common one I hear is, I don't know, the CEO, this is for smaller companies, needs to go talk to the investors. Where's the data? Where can I find the summary? Or sales going to a conference, right? In bigger companies, they go to a conference, they just need a quick summary. And then this one is, I think, a big culprit for a lot of things. Is data shared between teams via email, spreadsheets, or just casual conversation, right? You meet somebody in the hallway, you tell them, you send them in a handout document in the email. So these are all very real problems, and we hear about them a lot. So this is something that does happen often. And now if I go to the next one, okay. So from everything we saw and what we heard, we compiled some information. And again, if you think something is missing, I'll go through this quickly. Just put it in the chat. So what we saw are the most important parts, or what the market thinks we should be, or a project management software should have, is a proactive and comprehensive planning and tracking. So this goes, for example, Dave, what you said in the chat, right? So how do I plan and track expenses? How do I plan and track asset management, the entire one, right? And also people as well. Clear responsibilities for each team member. Who does what? So you don't do work twice. Collaborative cross-functional teamwork, so that through the entire life cycle of products, teams and departments can collaborate, right? Strong feedback culture. This is also important, right? That you can do this, and that you do the feedback loop all the time in projects. That you do retrospectives and see if everything what we did was well, or what or should we change something. And that could also go to the structure of SciNote, right? Risk management, drive for efficiency. I think this is probably the high level one. So at the end of the day, especially in industry, we want efficiency, and this is also why we are all looking into different and new software, because we want to improve the efficiency of our teams. And then just consistently reviewing and developing ways of working. So these are the things and expectations we compiled. As mentioned, if you think any is missing, let us know. And now what I'll do, I'll go through some of the things we do in SciNote and how our customers are solving it. So it's going to be based on a use case from one of our customers, MaxSite. So let me just click on. So MaxSite is a leading cell engineering company that provides innovative technologies enabling the development of next-gen cell and gene therapies. And what they also, cool. And I'll start with what you see at the top, right? Because this is a much more common thing. It's not just MaxSite. This is, again, it in a way happens also here at SciNote, even though we are a software company with different departments. But you have the R&D team, right? You have them, and they are preparing a pivotal feasibility study, right? And what they do once they're done, they prepare a handout document, and usually it's sent via email, right? It's sent downstream to process development, to engineering team, so they do the scale up and integration. QA is here all the time, but what they have issues with is they don't have full data access. They're just copied, and then they need to find the data. So there's a lot of moving parts, not talking between each other, or talking in a very inefficient way, right? Because whereas the full experimental history, right? And then sometimes in companies you work with, you then also have clinical ops, which they come later on, right? Clinical operations. And now they need the summary as well, and they need verified documentation. Where is that living? Is that somewhere else? So these are very, very real things. And what we then see, of course, as I already talked about, delays from miscommunication, missing context, QA, clinical teams, they have no idea or cannot verify the data easily. Duplicated documentation, I think that was one of the more important ones, right, in poll. So I think this is the most common one. Just again, my 2 cents, but based on what I hear, I think this is really the most common one. And then just errors caused by version mismatches, right? You send it in an email, version 1, but actually you had another version 1.2 in on your desktop, so you send the wrong one. So all of this makes a lot of issues and struggles in the life cycle of different products. And now, so things that you can then, okay, wrong mouse. Yeah, okay. And all of this is then solved, or at least partially solved within SciNote, right? I have some screenshots, again, directly from the use cases. So what ELNs offer, SciNote offers. So this is now a centralized ELN project with all the permissions based on your department, right? If you're the QC, you're not going to be editing everywhere, but you're going to be reviewing stuff. If you're the R&D, probably you're going to have editing, but later on you're requesting signatures. And all of these departments have their own user-specific dashboards, right? You see your own work, you can see on the screen, we have, so on this case, the current tasks. So this is then different for per user, per team. You can collaborate, as I said, with the QA team, just making sure they get the signatures and everything. Everyone is then notified. So this is the important one as well. So if you set up the task management correctly, same as in Excel or spreadsheets or Trello, you then get overdue tasks notification or just due tasks, right? You don't want them to be overdue. Then some of the things later on. So the way this is set up is, so you set up projects, and then because this is something that I think Matthias and Clement, when they founded SciNote, I think we took a stance on the structure and how it should be done. And this is why it's based on projects, right? We saw that this actually offers a lot of value. So, and you can see here, it all starts with projects, and then it goes down, and you can have the entire overview of your work, right? Levels of research from, you can see here if something is in progress, how many tasks were done, the start dates, due dates, and as well, who is owning the project, right? Probably the most important thing, who is responsible if something goes well or wrong.
And very granular access.
And very granular, yeah.
People can actually interact with the content.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, just assigning the work, right, at the end of the day. So this is the building block of project management. At the end of the day, somebody needs to do the work, and they need to know they need to do the work. And top level, so management needs to know who is doing that specific work, right? Yes. So, and this is, again, just specific example of how then you can structure this. And this is a very then unified way of how Maxi did it, right? So now then the entire R&D team follows a specific way of creating the structure, where you have then, as I said, so you have a project, cell therapy, then T-cell engineering, and for example, CAR knocking T-cells. And at the bottom in the building block, scientists, they log the electroporation results, protocols, images, so raw data, and then everyone can access this. Everyone knows, so the cell therapy project, where is it, what's happening, who is currently working on it, and what they're doing. Good. So besides this, what is important, and this, it's not a Gantt chart, unfortunately, but it is something that does give you a nice view of your, like, either nonlinear or just linear flows. And most importantly, this is a very important part of project management, which I don't think we touched yet, automations, right? These flows that you do, because you have standardized flows that you do regularly on a daily basis, and you can just copy those and just execute them on a daily basis with new set of data. Okay, so, and when I talked about visibility, right, this is an important one. When QA and QC, they want to see the information, and they want to cross, so they want to have a good handoff of everyone in downstream. So this is how they can then go into SciNote and see immediately, right? If you have a well-defined data entry system, everyone knows what they're looking for and where they're looking for it, and they can find it very easily. And then they can see, okay, this was done at this time by this specific person. And when you log in, rather open a task in your work, you already immediately see, right, some basic information. Okay, this is actually assigned to Billy Rubin. This is actually Matthias. and some other basic information about that specific part. The one that I think Matthias touched in the beginning is actually communication. So real-time communication, very important one. You want to have communication timestamped as well. So, and not just timestamp, but also somebody, if you're communicating with somebody, they need to get notified. And either this is just some, as you can see here, within an experiment, or this is actually a sign-off process where they need to understand that they need to be notified, they need to review something. And then I jumped in when Matthias was talking about academic. So the sharing of information with external parties, this is a very important thing. So I'm sure you work with different either CROs, maybe you are a CRO and you work with customers. So you need to be able to share data in a very controlled way. This is what's probably the most important thing, that you know who are you sharing it with and what access they get.
Yes, and when they get the link to either to notification, they can actually access the original content and not a version that was shared with them. So that's kind of
and maybe it's already a version number 6 because it went through 4 people, and
there is no doubt that you are accessing the correct.
That's a very good point. I agree. Yeah,
the correct content.
Okay. And of course, what we're going to now slowly go in, these are the last 2 slides. So at the end, you want to just see all the activity logs, making sure that everyone has everything. And this goes to Dave now. I'm going to talk. So Dave, when you asked about the parts of experiments and what are the costs specifically to consumables and reagents, this is there where ELNs should be connected with project management, either tools or the ELN itself should have project management tools, because we also have inventories, we also have consumables. I know our customers have everything from consumables to chemicals within their inventories, and they need to track the stock. They need to understand how much of it was used, where it was used in, right? So, and this is where then the added value of ELNs come in, where you can actually now connect this experimental data and the asset management and the cost tracking compared to the traditional project management tools.
And this becomes the context of your experiment work, and you can easily do the reports on the consumed either items or who was involved.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And again, of course, the outcome at the end of the day, the most common ones we see, and this, as I said, this was Mac sites, but it's just suddenly you have a seamless transition across departments and project stages. It's much easier to track a project and know who needs to do what at what time. We saw, or they saw, the most significant time savings actually during planning and reporting phases. Those two we saw, like they saved the most time. And then, of course, data integrity, what Matthias was just saying, right? You know that this is data, the original data within the ELN. It hasn't been sent via email by 3 different people and then change maybe at some point. So consistency and data integrity. Cool. Okay, so this was it. So we went through, for my part, so just to make a quick summary, so we showcase after Matthias did the introduction, we showcase just where we see connections, what we hear from customers and from market, and where we see connections that project management is, of course, a very important part of science and R&D, and how it should be connected with the ELNs, and how SciNote connects it in some places, right? So together with, if we go through the previous poll, resource planning, right? Manual duplicated effort, you're sure that you didn't do it because you can search through it, you can find it in an ELN. Same with lack of visibility, right? Across teams and projects. This was one of the common ones in the earlier topic as well, poll, right? This makes it easier. As you've seen with the use case from Mac site, you know who's doing what they're doing, who's responsible, and you can get the data out very easily, right? So I'm gonna stop talking and open the third poll, guys. So what we want to now maybe go through. So we started with the poll number 1 was, what are you currently using, right? Then we went into, cool, what are the issues, the challenges you're seeing, and now we want to know, so in your opinion, what are the features of project management we also discussed today, and also what in your current systems that you think are the one that you need the most, right? What's the specific feature that you would say, oh, this is the most important feature I need in my research? So I'll open the poll in a few seconds. Here, I think, guys, you should already see it. So we added some, we added Gantt chart as the first one. I like Gantt charts. But okay, status overview, cool. Workload distribution per individual team. So the status overview of projects and experiments is the most important one. Okay, I mean, looks like okay. Okay, one bottleneck. I thought there's gonna be more, but okay, we are getting some more. Okay, I'll leave it open for like 5 or 10 more seconds. Did we miss any? As in previous polls, just put it in the chat, because we have the none of the above, of course. So just if you think we missed something, please put it in the chat. Okay, let's see. Okay, status overview. Okay, I'll close the poll. What did I do? Let me end the poll, and I'll share the results with everyone so you can see. So as you can see, right, what you all think, so Gantt chart was actually not that high. I thought it's going to be higher. But the status overview of projects and experiments, and this actually does make sense. So you want to understand where are you and where are actually the bottlenecks as well, right? Is anything being stalled? Is anything waiting for somebody? Okay. Anomaly detection, workload distribution. Cool. No, this is good. Makes all the sense, guys. Do we have anything in the chat? Nope, nothing now. Okay, I'll stop sharing this. And do we have anything in the? No, we don't. Okay. Good. So I'll give the mic to Matjaž. He's gonna do the outro before we go into. So don't forget, we do have time dedicated to Q&A after Matjaž does and explains the outro.
Yes, a very not a lot of information. A little bit look out in the trends of the project management across the industry. These ones were kind of more dedicated to project management in biotech. However, these trends are, I think, quite general, and they might be applying in various industries. So it's embracing the digital tools, right? So yes, not just for project management, also for the science. So doing documenting science itself, as this digital tools bring a lot of efficiency. We've talked a lot about the areas where they contribute, so collaboration, automation, and so on. For example, if you are using a properly configured scientific data management system, you get some benefits automatically. For example, monitoring of the progress should be a collateral of just using the software without any serious additional overhead. So that's one. So embracing digital tools. The other one is making or switching towards data-driven decisions. So that involves collecting the data at first, analyzing data, and then acting on the data. And this can be used either for real-time analytics, so to continuously monitor the progress and then being able to detect any deviations from the plans and then taking actions quickly. And then looking forward, so using the predictive analytics. So here is where machine learning and AI actually comes into play, trying to predict, forecast the risks and project outcomes so that you can actually mitigate, proactively mitigate the expected or unexpected or unforeseen challenges. And the last one is so regulatory landscape is a never-ending story. So it's continuously changing, and here I think it is a good practice to use either compliance quality management systems for this aspect, and for starters, use scientific data management platforms like ELN that automate documentation, reporting, have compliance built in, so that minimizes reduces the risks for non-compliance. Again, this is the kind of the efficiency game. And to really summarize it, 2 points, kind of a take-home messages from our end. So embrace digital tools. It's for example, for smaller companies or companies that have fewer projects, you can really start with just, let's say, a scientific data management tool that has some project management, project-based documentation, collaboration features, and compliance from day one. That might be enough. If you are a larger company or have a bit bigger number of projects, then use in combination with, for example, an ELN or a LIMS, a dedicated project management tool, and then integrate both tools to get the real-time analytics and visibility from the ELN, let's say, to a project management tool. And lastly, we also mentioned that, so continuous learning and improvement. So build feedback loops into a process. We also do it as a part of our agile development methodology. Whenever we are rolling out a new SciNote release, we have a retrospective and learning from good and bad outcomes of that project, if you call it a release, SciNote version release as a project, and that should be kind of built into the system. Yeah. So looking back is always critically looking back is always a good thing.
I agree, and we often miss it.
We often miss it. Yes, it's very easy to kind of sweep things under the rug and say, "Oh, we'll do things better next time."
But then you don't. Yeah.
Then
okay, cool. So opening the floor to the questions, guys. Feel free to either use the Q&A session, Q&A feature in Zoom, and put the questions there. You can also use the chat if you want, so any of those will do. Let's see. Just a second. Okay, so the first one that we got in the Q&A is, so we already have a project management tool. How do we add ELN to the tech stack? Yeah. Whatever you do, whatever ELN or solution you're looking for, or a project management software tool, you should look that they're easy to connect with others, so that they have either an open API. So that's the most common one, but that they're easily integrated with others. So this is probably one of the most important thing out there but it's not only project management and ELN. If you're going to connect it with inventory management software, with instruments, the software you look at needs to have a well-designed API that you can then use to connect it with other software. That I think that's from my side.
Yeah, that's it. Or at least having ability to the system has ability to export certain metrics that can be even not via API, then manually kind of transferred to another system. Yeah, but I think that's a crucial one. Yeah.
Yeah, that we do, especially smaller companies. I see sometimes miss it. If they're digital first, they don't miss it, but a lot of times this is something they miss. Then, okay, we have a question from Lakshmi in the chat. Are there any tools that are available? There are many ELN tools. How to select the best one, which actually SciNote. I've seen that before. Is different from the other ELNs. So one thing where we are different, and this is the only one that I'm going to talk about today, since we're talking about project management, that we do have a project management structure in place, and we have it since day one. So the way SciNote is designed, we do follow some project management practices that we think are important compared to the other ELNs. And it's also one of the most common things we hear from clients and prospects coming from other software tools, is that they have issues with finding the data after 2 years' time, because no structure, no project management tools were in place. So they just use it as the same way as they use paper, right? One page, and they just go about that.
Yes, and you can easily map, let's say, the project management structure with projects and milestones, deliverables, and then specific tasks to, let's say, the structure in SciNote in this case. So that's always good to map. But that's why we kind of design the system in this direction as well from the beginning. Yeah. And I think we can also share some resources how to select a good ELN, right? Later on.
Yeah, Lakshmi, I'll reach out to you, either me or my colleague, and give you some. So we have some good resources, like a scoring template you can use, that would help you decide on what tool is the best one for you. But it all starts with you sitting down and defining what are the issues and what are the needs you have, and then it goes from there on. Because we cannot help you if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. There is a question from Rafael, but it's less. I'm going to answer it anyway quickly. So what's actually the main difference between ELN and LIMS? I think so there is less and less differences as the time passes.
And on the expectation side as well, yeah.
I think the only difference, Rafael, is that we are solving the issues from two different perspectives. We started with an ELN part, so recording experimental data, and LIMS, they started with sample tracking and what the life cycle of a sample is. But more and more, it feels like we're going in a similar direction where the tool needs to have both.
Both capabilities.
And then there are trade-offs, which ones are better, which parts you can miss and which ones you cannot. So
there is one question about the AI integration in the systems, in our systems.
Okay, I didn't see that one. Okay, please.
Maybe I can tackle that one. So we can share some things. Some are still in the process of being developed and discovered. Well, AI is a very broad terminology, right? So it compiles a lot of, or contains a lot of different technologies. We are at the moment developing the capabilities how to ingest the data into SciNote a little bit better. So working on, for example, how to properly structure the, let's say, the SOPs or the protocols into SciNote with the capability of AI, because this is how you can actually work more efficiently in the lab, and that unlocks the possibility to track the work with the protocols in the lab. So that's one aspect where we are working on. SciNote does have another one that's maybe related to monitoring this, let's say, organizational insights. This is where SciNote's, let's say, powerful API comes into play, where we can export the data about the, let's say, project, experiment, task, metadata, how they're used. That can be funneled out, and this can be used as a source that you can plug into your machine learning or AI tools. And very similarly for the research data as well. So this is the part that we are mostly working on for the future developments now, for focusing first on the, let's say, ingestion of the data that enables better execution and proper monitoring.
Okay, so there is a question, but it's anonymous. Do you have a template for using the SciNote webhooks? So we can help you with that. You can reach out to me, vit@scinote.net, or just to our support, and we can get you some help there. So our developers are very proud of the API, and they're happy to jump on a call and maybe help you with a template as well and showcase you that. There is another, so we're getting more questions. So I'll take one more. So it's Rafael again. So what's your experience with acceptance with SciNote from lab people? I mean, the fear of changes and have to use something new. Yeah, okay. So it depends on so we have a lot of experience, right? So this is the first thing. And probably when you're going to be looking at our reviews, we're also top rated regarding support. And during my time when I was an implementation specialist, what I saw is that if you do the project of implementation correctly, people do accept it. There's always going to be somebody who's going to be grumbling about, oh, new things, I need to use it. But if you involve them from the beginning, the adoption implementation is usually well received and well done. It does depend, again, also on the company we work with. So there's only so much we can do. There also needs to be usually top management from the client, top management decision we need to use digital. And then it's much easier. First of all, people have some incentive, they were involved, and those implementations are usually very successful.
Yeah, I can maybe add that there's, in my opinion, biggest difference if you are moving from a non-digital to a digital solution. That's the biggest, let's say, change management
Yeah, that's true.
challenge. So this is where all the points where Rich pointed out are very, very important. So seeing the bigger picture and transmitting the values and benefits of a digital platform, because it will have more restrictions than the non-digital. Let's say paper is very flexible. Any digital tool is less flexible. So people need to understand why they have to make things in a certain way, in a less flexible way, why they're doing that. If you are switching from one digital tool to another, then it's a different story because you're already educated, it's easier, it's smoother, you are already opinionated, and you know what you are looking for.
You know what you want.
Yes, a bit better.
There's one more, I think, is this the last one? No. So from Troy, is there any calendar integration with Google or Microsoft? So out of the box, no. However, we did have customers do it. So we do have, I'm not going to say templates, but we do have experience with this. It was done in the past by our customers and they're using it. So it's not only Google or Microsoft, also SAP, other ERP systems. These are the most common, let's say, integrations done with an ELN. So I think we have some other questions, actually quite a few. So we're going to answer those in the follow-ups, and we're going to slowly close the webinar for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for being part of the polls. I think there was a lot of information there that was really good. Thank you for the questions as well. If you have any questions, you have the email on the screen. So the one especially with the webhook template, reach out to us. We are happy to help. If not us, somebody else in the team is happy to jump in and solve the issues and problems you have. Have I missed anything?
I don't know.
No, I think this is it.
If you missed something, that's another way how you can, say what you have missed in this webinar, because we are kind of consider what to do in a follow-up. This was a very broadly topic one. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions, what you would like to hear, maybe which industry areas or specifics you would like to have more attention with, let us know. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone, and see you at one of our next webinars.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.